very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, it is the big day in Uttar Pradesh politics today because the UP is undergoing polling for the fourth phase of elections today. We'll keep tracking all those developments, but let's take a look at the headlines first. Polling underway for fourth phase of elections in Uttar Pradesh. 53 constituencies across 12 districts voting today. Security stepped up in Punjab and Haryana as the INLD plans to start digging Sutlej Yamuna link canal in Punjab today. Supreme Court asks both the states to maintain law and order at any cost. India and Uganda agree to expand cooperation in energy, trade, investment and defence. Vice President Mohammad Ansari meets Ugandan President and Vice President before wrapping up his two-nation Africa tour today. NASA's big discovery, 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting a nearby star that could support life. And India take on Australia in the first of the 4-match test series in Pune today. India will look to extend their 19-match victory run. Our top focus this morning, polling is underway for the fourth phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh. 53 constituencies spread over 12 districts of eastern Uttar Pradesh and the Bundelkhand region are voting today. Well, the districts in polling are Allahabad, Chitrakoot, Banda, Fatehpur, Hamirpur, Jalon, Jhansi, Kaushambi, Lalitpur, Mahoba, Pratapgarh and Raebareli. Elaborate arrangements have been made to ensure free and fair polling. Inter-district and interstate borders have been sealed. Now, patrolling by the security forces has been intensified in poll-bound areas. Now, most of the polling centres are manned by central paramilitary forces. Well, the BJP is contesting 48 seats out of the 53. It has left 6 seats for its ally, Apna Dal. Well, BSP has fielded its nominees on all the segments, while the SP is contesting on 30 seats and its ally, Congress, on 25. In the 2012 assembly polls, the Samajwadi Party had won 24 seats out of the 53, followed by BSP, which had won 15. The BJP had bagged 5 seats and the Congress 6, while others had won 3 seats. All right, my colleagues are in Uttar Pradesh. They're tracking every bit of that polling in the fourth phase in Uttar Pradesh. Let's go across to my colleague Ravindra, who is joining us live from Jhansi first. Ravindra, now you are in Jhansi. This is, of course, the center of the Bundelkhand region. It's just 1 hour into the voting. What is the environment that you can see? How many voters are turning out at the polling booths this morning?
Yes, Aishwarya, Jhansi is one of the most important places, especially in this Bundelkhand region. And I think this is one of the reasons that the voters here, they are so enthusiastic that they start coming in even before the actual voting took place at 7 a.m. They start queuing up in this election booth. One of the election booths where we are standing right now, you can see behind me, a lot of people are there. Police presence is also visible. More than 11 voting booths has been made here in this particular election center. This is an important election for, of course, this whole region of Bundelkhand, starting from Chitrakoot and to Lalitpur area of this Bundelkhand region. The Bundelkhand terrain, which has in past we have seen it is quite exposed to the threat of the dacoits, and police and the local administration this time is quite happy that no diktat has been issued and by any dacoit group, which we have seen for the last at least 5 decades, that no dictate this time to favor or to oppose any political party or any political front has been issued. This is the reason that police and the local administration, they are quite enthusiastic and they are hopeful that this time the election voting they will be able to see a huge voting turnout as compared to the last election. Also, Election Commission has made elaborate arrangement for the voters. They have given a lot of soaps they are giving to the voters. They have collaborated with some commercial establishments also to provide more education to the voters in the way of awareness of the voters.
All right.
Since last at least 3 weeks, what we are seeing that in this area, a sweep campaign was launched by the Election Commission to reach to the every household and tell them about their voting rights. And I think that is quite visible now. Since the morning 7 o'clock, people here are queuing up of all age group and all walks of life. People are coming here and they are casting their vote. I think the people are much frustrated in this area that even after the 7 decades of independence, they have been struggling to get the elementary amenities when on the other side, the country, some of the areas of the country has reached very far and they have seen a lot of development spree.
All right, so development remains a key issue as far as Bundelkhand region is concerned. But what is happening in Allahabad? Let's go across to my colleague Kriti Mishra, who is joining us from there. Kriti, now as Panchanan was telling us about Bundelkhand region, you know how development remains a big issue, but the Election Commission seems to have done a fantastic job there, educating the voters there. What is that you are seeing in Allahabad?
Well, that's right, Aishwarya, the efforts of the Election Commission, we really need to laud that. And if you can just see, and I can request my camera person to pan the camera behind, you can see huge deployment of police personnel here. There's deployment of central paramilitary forces, police personnel, home guard, just to ensure that peaceful polling takes place. And also, Aishwarya, there's QRT, which is Quick Response Team. In that case, these teams have to respond in 10 minutes in case of any exigency or in case of any anomaly. For instance, if there's some problem with the EVM or if there's any poll illegality, so they have to fix it within 10 minutes. So definitely we need to laud the efforts of the Election Commission here. And it's just not about the security aspect of it. Election Commission has made serious endeavors to actually motivate voters so that they come out in large numbers and vote, and specifically youth. They've targeted the youth, so they've collaborated with Facebook. So there's this app and also a tab called Register for Your Vote, which directly links you to National Voters Symbolic Right System, which tells you about all the registration processes. So definitely Election Commission has taken all pains to disseminate information. It has organized competitions like painting competition, mehndi competition, slogan competition, just to motivate people. And it's not just about the Election Commission, Aishwarya. In fact, a lot of commercial entities, for instance, a lot of restaurants, hotels, they've come up with scheme that if you come and show your indelible ink on the finger, meaning that you've just cast your vote, you can avail discounts up to 10%, up to 20%. So definitely the entire society is getting more enlightened as far as the political rights and the voting rights are concerned. Aishwarya?
And Kriti, it's pretty early in the morning. It's just 8 o'clock. But looking at the environment there where you are in Allahabad, how many people have turned up? Is there a long queue, or it's just that people are waiting for weather to clear a little bit and then turn up to cast their votes?
Early in the morning, we saw a lot of people come out and they did exercise their franchise. But right now, it probably the momentum has slowed down a bit. But definitely, we expect better figures to come out. A lot of people to come out through the day, because it's early in the morning and probably it's a day of holiday. So probably people would like to get up and then come and exercise their franchise. But certainly, early in the morning, we saw a lot of people come here and stand in queues, and they did cast their vote. Aishwarya?
All right, Kriti, thank you so much for joining us. And now let's go across to my colleague Panchanan, who is joining us from Mahoba. Panchanan, a very good morning. You are, of course, in one of the areas of Bundelkhand region. And this area is very important because this is the place where, you know, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had launched his flagship Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. So there's a lot of focus on the farmers' welfare there. But what are the voters telling you? What are their issues? And on what basis are they going to vote today?
Morning, Aishwarya, but I want to tell you that there is a very much enthusiasm among voters. You can see the long number of voters are here since not only since 7 a.m. Before 7 a.m. in the morning, and they are very much enthusiastic and they are voting on the line of change. They want development. They are saying that the previous governments done most of the their things, but they didn't completed their work. So they want change and they are voting for this development agenda. And now this time, this area, this but particularly this 19 seats of Bundelkhand, which is going to poll today, and the issues of farmers, the issues of drought is dominated in this entire Bundelkhand region. So we are witnessing that the development agenda is a core agenda, but in the previous elections we also saw that the voting on the caste line is also very prominent here in the Bundelkhand. So we have to see what voters will, what the turnout will be here, and what we will see in this region of Bundelkhand.
Absolutely. So it is very interesting that you mentioned that in fact we could see long queues behind you, Panchanan, also. And as our reporter was telling us that early in the morning, even before 7 a.m. when the voting started, there were people at the polling booths. So really a good sign for Indian democracy. Thank you so much, Panchanan, Kriti and Ravindra Shuran for joining us. We'll keep coming back to you. Meanwhile, campaigning will continue for the remaining 3 phases in Uttar Pradesh today. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the rallies in Bahraich and Basti. Well, BJP President Amit Shah will hold rallies in Kushinagar and Deoria. Home Minister Rajnath Singh's rallies are slated in Lalganj and Bansgaon. Now, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will be addressing 3 rallies in Amethi today. Chief Minister of the state, Akhilesh Yadav, will also hold rallies today. He'll be in Balrampur, Gonda and Faizabad. Now, BSP Chief Mayawati's rallies are slated in Bahraich and Ambedkar Nagar. And counting for the Maharashtra civic polls will also take place today. Well, all eyes, however, on the outcome of the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation. Well, counting will be conducted for the polls to 10 municipal corporations and 25 Zilla Parishads across the state. About 56% voters had exercised their franchise in the polls. Well, the halfway mark to rule the BMC civic body is 114 seats. In Mumbai, there are in fact, there were 2,275 candidates and 92 lakh voters. Well, the fight is between the erstwhile allies, the BJP and the Shiv Sena. Apart from Mumbai, the municipal corporations which went to the polls were Thane, Nashik, Pune, Pimpri Chinchwad, Solapur, Akola, Amravati and Nagpur. And on to some other news now. Well, President Pranab Mukherjee has pushed for reforms in the judicial system to make it more efficient. Well, speaking at a book release function at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, President Mukherjee said that every system needs constant changes as it develops flaws over a period of time. Well, he also expressed concerns over vacancy of judges in various courts. On the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that efficient governance can minimize litigation and thereby reduce unnecessary burden of the judiciary. Now, various dignitaries present on the occasion included Chief Justice of India, J.S. Kehar, Union Ministers Arun Jaitley and Ravi Shankar Prasad, and also Justice Vikramjit Sen. Well, the book titled Judicial Reforms, Recent Global Trends is written by Justice Dalveer Bhandari, member of the International Court of Justice. Prime Minister Narendra Modi released the book and presented its first copy to President Pranab Mukherjee.
It is high time for all of us to collectively not only think but also to act. How to address these issues? Without bench, without adequate infrastructure, we cannot have any sorts of reforms worthwhile.
When I say efficient governance, तो मैं कानून के ड्राफ्टिंग से लेकर के इम्प्लीमेंटिंग अथॉरिटी तक की सारी लिंक देखता। आज हमारे यहाँ उसमें बड़ा लचीलापन है और बहुत ज्यादातर कानूनों की जो चीजें आती हैं उसमें तत्कालीन समस्या को रिस्पॉन्ड करने का इरादा प्राथमिकता हो जाती है। बड़ा दुर्भाग्य है। एक लॉन्ग टर्म विजन के साथ अगर हम चीजें बनाएं, लेकिन आज देश की जो स्थिति है, हर चीज का अपना एक अलग अर्थ निकलता है और उसको ड्राइव करने वाले फोर्सेस भी बहुत है।
On to some other news now. Well, on the second leg of his two-nation tour to Rwanda and Uganda, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Wednesday met Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni in Entebbe. Well, both the sides agreed to increase cooperation in the areas of politics, trade, investment, IT, agriculture and defense.
Vice President Mohammad Ansari on Wednesday held wide-ranging talks, met Ugandan President Museveni at the State House in Entebbe. Both leaders reviewed the long-standing bilateral ties between India and Uganda. After talks, the Vice President said he was confident that both nations will continue to engage positively.
We reviewed the entire gamut of our bilateral ties. We remain committed to working together in political, trade, investment, development cooperation, agriculture, information technology, defense cooperation domains. We also agreed to expand cooperation in the energy sector as also in the training of personnel for space programs and peaceful uses of atomic energy.
Describing the talks as fruitful, President Museveni termed the Indo-Ugandan relationship as warm and respectful. Both sides also agreed to increase cooperation in the areas of politics, trade, investment, IT, agriculture and defense.
In medicine, there are some Indian companies here which have invested here in pharmaceuticals, in transport. Many of our companies are using Tata lorries, as you know. In education, in the military, we send quite a number of students to India. Therefore, our relationship is long-standing and warm and respectful. The Indians don't come to give us lectures here, and we don't go to give lectures to them. We respect each other.
Among other things, both India and Uganda have agreed to expand cooperation in energy. India also agreed to train Ugandan personnel in space exploration and peaceful uses of atomic energy. Another positive development for Uganda is an understanding to increasingly assemble Indian automobiles locally, which would be a first for Indian automobile manufacturers.
The Vice President, I informed him, East Africa is planning to discourage of assembled vehicles into East Africa. So I alerted him that in the future, East Africa will be insisting on assembling vehicles here.
His Excellency has made some very constructive suggestions in the expanding context of the East African community and the possibilities that it would open up for Indian manufacturers for doing local assembly. This is something that we will take back home and convey to our business community.
Asked about the mass expulsion of Indians during the Idi Amin regime, President Museveni said the measure was not against Indians but against Ugandan Indians. However, he admitted that it was a mistake since the Indians ended up enriching other countries, mainly the UK and Canada. Smita Nair and Arvind Kumar Singh's report for RSTV.
And Vice President Mohammad Ansari has termed the business ties of India with Uganda as dynamic and key to bilateral relations. While speaking at the India-Uganda Business Forum, the Vice President has said that a trade between the two countries is yet to reach its true potential. While at the forum, the Ugandan Vice President Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi pitched for greater investment from Indian companies in the resource-rich country. He also termed Uganda as business destination for India. Well, Vice President will be wrapping up his 5-day two-nation tour with a meeting with the Indian community in Uganda today.
Uganda's expanding economy offers business opportunities for Indian companies in a variety of sectors. We encourage our companies to remain engaged and invest in the opportunities that the Ugandan economy presents.
Today, many Indian nationals operate profitably in Uganda. I therefore look forward to more investments from India to Uganda and for market access of Uganda agricultural products on the Indian market so as to address the big trade imbalance.
And back home, a new big story coming in from Punjab, where the state police on Wednesday sealed the two main entry points into the state from Haryana. Well, this after the Indian National Lok Dal, or the INLD, announced their march towards Punjab to dig the Satluj-Yamuna link canal today. Well, the Punjab police will also use drones, and a state government chopper has also been kept at standby to take stock of the situation there. Well, the barricading by the Punjab police is 2 kilometers from a vegetable market in Ambala, where the INLD has planned to assemble before marching towards Punjab. Now, Section 144 has also been imposed along the border to ensure safety. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court told both the states to ensure that law and order in the view of the proposed march be maintained. Well, Punjab and Haryana are set for a face-off on the issue of sharing water from the SYL Canal after political parties from both the states have taken a stiff stance on water sharing. A news just coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, where 7 army personnel have been injured after terrorists ambushed a patrolling party in a Shopian district of the state. Well, we are awaiting more information on this developing story from South Kashmir, and we'll keep getting you all the updates as soon as the updates trickle in. On to some other news now. Well, the Income Tax Department has identified 235 cases for Benami transactions and properties till mid-February 2017. Well, the department has already issued show cause notices for attachment of Benami properties in 140 cases. Well, out of the 140 notices, Benami properties worth more than 55 crore rupees have already been provisionally attached in 124 cases. Well, attached properties include deposits in bank accounts, agricultural and other lands, flats and jewellery. Well, the Benami Transactions Prohibition Amendment Act of 2016 empowers the authorities to provisionally attach Benami properties, which can eventually be confiscated. Besides that, if a person is found guilty, he or she shall be punishable with the rigorous imprisonment for a term not less than a year, but which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to a fine which may extend to 25% of the fair market value of that particular property. Let's move on in the bulletin now. Well, the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, has put India's demonetization move as a new challenge to sustaining the country's growth momentum. Well, in its annual report, the IMF has projected India's GDP growth to 6.6% in 2016-17 fiscal due to the strains that have emerged in the economy as a result of temporary disruption caused by demonetization. Well, the IMF's executive board also called on the Indian government to quickly restore the availability of cash to avoid further payment disruptions. It further asked the government to encourage monitoring of the potential side effects of the initiative on financial stability and growth. However, the IMF has also predicted that demonetization would have only short-term impact on the economy, and it would bounce back to its expected growth of more than 8% in the next few years. And the WTO's Trade Facilitation Agreement, which seeks to ease custom norms, has come into effect from Wednesday, with its two-thirds members ratifying the pact. Well, the agreement has been ratified by India and will give a boost to the global trade, which has been impacted due to the slowdown in the world economy. Well, according to experts, the agreement comes at a time when India's efforts to improve exports are gaining momentum. Well, the 164 members of the multilateral trade body have said that a major milestone for the global trading system has been reached as the first multilateral deal concluded in the 21-year history entered into force. It further added that once the agreement is fully implemented, developing countries are predicted to increase the number of new products exported by as much as 20%. And in a thrilling discovery, NASA has found 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting a nearby star, a combination similar to our solar system. Well, all the planets are closer in size to Earth and perhaps warm enough for water and the life that it can sustain. Well, the discovery has raised hope that the hunt for alien life can start much sooner than previously thought, with the next generation of telescopes that are due to switch on in the next decade.
Are we alone in this vast universe? While the question has bugged us since human beings started existing on Earth, we are now a step closer towards knowing the answer to that perennial question. astronomers have found at least 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting the same star some 40 light-years away. This discovery outside of our solar system means finding a second Earth is now not a matter of if, but when.
These planets are among the best of all the planets we know to follow up, to see, for example, with the James Webb Space Telescope that we're going to launch last year, the atmospheres, and also to look at biosignatures if there are any. The discovery gives us a hint that finding a second Earth is not just a matter of if, but when.
So what do we know of these 7 newly found planets? They were found in tight formation around an ultra-cool dwarf star called TRAPPIST-1, corresponding to Sun in our solar system. All the planets are rocky rather than being gaseous like Jupiter. These 7 planets have the winning combination of being similar in size to Earth. And most importantly, they are all temperate, meaning they could have water on their surfaces and potentially support life.
So TRAPPIST-1 is much cooler, much smaller than our Sun, and so the planets in its habitable zone are much closer to it, very close to it, with very short orbital periods. And in this graphics, what you can see are the planets which were found around TRAPPIST-1, with the 3 of them which are in the habitable zone, so also called the Goldilocks zones, where liquid water could exist.
Although 40 light-years away doesn't sound too far, it would take us millions of years to reach this star system. But from a research perspective, it is a close opportunity and the best target to search for life beyond our solar system. And here is some food for thought. When our Sun dies, TRAPPIST-1 will still be a young star and will live for another 1 trillion years. So if there is another part of the universe for life to carry on, it may be in the TRAPPIST-1 system. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And China and India held their upgraded strategic dialogue in Beijing on Wednesday to resolve differences over India's NSG bid and a UN ban on Jaish-e-Mohammad chief Masood Azhar. Now, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar attended the first round of talks with China's Executive Vice Foreign Minister Zhang Zishui and other officials, when India hit out at China for demanding solid evidence for getting JEM chief Masood Azhar banned by the United Nations, saying that the extent of his actions were well documented and that the burden of proof was not on India. Jaishankar said that the Chinese side have underlined that they are open to India's application for NSG membership. Now, India and China have also agreed to cooperate in capacity building in Afghanistan and support the government in the war-torn country. And finally, some cricket news. Well, the 4-match cricket test series between India and Australia will begin from today in Pune. Well, the series against the Stephen Smith-led side is also the last home series for the 2016-17 season for India. India is now on a brilliant run with wins over South Africa, New Zealand, England and Bangladesh at home. Unbeaten in 19 matches, India had thrashed Australia by 4-0 on their last visit. Now, there are several factors in India's remarkable run, among those being Captain Virat Kohli's exceptional run with the bat. Now, Kohli is averaging over 80 after accumulating 1,457 runs in the last 13 tests. The other major factor has been the excellent bowling by spinners R. Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, incidentally the 2 top bowlers in the ICC rankings. However, both the teams have admitted that they will take up against one another.
We haven't focused on the opposition too much. We are aware of their skills, their positive and negative points, but that doesn't mean that we're going to wait for the opposition to come out with the 11 and then decide how we want to play. We have a certain preparation that we have done, and we have a good headspace going into the series. Everyone's feeling confident, and that's the most important thing.
It's going to be a tough series. They've got some quality players in their lineup from 1 to 11, so yeah, it's going to be difficult. But I guess what I want to see from my boys is ability to adapt to the plans we have in place and show some fight and resilience in tough situations.
Well, that's all that we could pack up in this bulletin. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.